Three players meeting with the media today. We're going to take a listen and react to what they had to say. And I'm going to chit-chat about some other things. So let's jump into this. What is up, Finn fans? Mike Gesicki, Landon Robbins, Austin Jackson meeting with the media. So we're going to react to their meeting. I want to mostly hear from Mike Gesicki, hear a lot of things. I've heard one comment on Twitter about essentially what he had to say about coming back and taking the franchise tag and stuff. So we're going to react to all that good stuff. Before we jump into that, a lot of you guys have been giving me fantastic suggestions for upcoming videos, and I do plan on doing them. Some of you guys are asking me to kind of break down the roster, go outside and look at other teams and all that stuff. Those are things that I'm going to start doing towards preseason, right? Because right now, I can't give you a full diagnostics on the roster. I can't tell you how the Dolphins will stack up with other teams. I can't tell you any of these things until I see the team, you know, training camp, OTAs, all that good stuff. So I'm going to do them. It's just going to take a minute. And then a lot of you guys want me to do, some of you guys hit me up on Twitter. Some of you guys hit me up down below. Do BPA, best player available for our positions, and potential undrafted free agents the Dolphins are going to go after, being that they don't have 4 picks. They're probably going to be heavy in undrafted free agents. I can't really do those for multiple reasons. One, I don't know how the draft's going to fall. Some guy might be an undrafted free agent, and then all of a sudden he gets drafted in the 7th round. So I can't, and same thing with best player available. I don't know who the best player available is going to be come pick 102, or if we still stay at pick 102 because of that. Who might be taking the 2, almost 3 rounds beforehand? Will we trade back, trade up? So that's why a lot of times when I do my prospects videos, we have 1st round picks, so I can give you my number 1 and tell you if he'll be there, and all that stuff. Whereas now I'm just giving you guys that are, you know, targeted to be mid-round guys, and we'll just throw it at the wall, see what sticks. So I just want to let you guys know, I read your comments, I hear you. I'm going to do most of the comments, but the ones I can't, I just explained why I can't. So, and then on Twitter, I'm not going to really go that far into it, but Cameron Jordan came out and he said a really awesome thing. I'm going to read it for you guys. So from Barry Jackson's article, Cameron Jordan came out and said, after playing Tua, it's Tua, because he has more room to grow. Essentially talking about which quarterback does he think out of the ones drafted in 2020 has the most growth, or have most, he can see grow the most. He said he's poised. He doesn't get rattled after playing Justin Herbert. You can hurt Justin. He gets a little rattled after you start sticking him early. Tua stays calm. He has the demeanor about him. He's been hurt more, so he has much more room to grow. So I'm covering my face. So, you know, I thought that was an interesting comment, especially coming from a guy who, you know, Cameron Jordan's multiple-time All-Pro, multiple-time Pro Bowler. And so many people, Justin Herbert fans, Tua haters, or Tua people who have this disdain for Tua, came out of the woodwork. Just so you know, that was from an interview, I think, on ESPN. Also, that clip came out of Barry Jackson's article. Go check out Barry Jackson's article. And so many people, Justin Herbert fans, are like, it hasn't, just move on. And then the people who have such a disdain for Tua, and I noticed that, right? And I noticed it on Twitter. You talk about Tua and you point out any of the things Tua does well, people instantly come out and want to be like, no. Oh, well, and like, it's just, you can't, and I've noticed this, and it makes me laugh, and it makes me root for him even harder. Even, you know, he's my quarterback, so I root for him hard, and it makes me root for him. You cannot say a nice thing about Tua. Dolphin fans come out to detract the nice things or the good things or the factual positives of Tua. Dolphin fans for their own quarterback. And I just find it so funny. So I just want to talk about that real quick. That was a little interaction on Twitter. Go follow me on Twitter. I'm on Twitter just as much as I'm on here. and that's where I interact with you guys the most. I'm almost at 10,000 Twitter followers. I think I'm like 700 away. So if you haven't yet, go over, follow me on Twitter. So now I'm going to now scoot over so it's not covering my face. And we're going to listen to Landon Roberts first, hear what he has to say. So here's a Landon. Let's see what he has to say.
Over in the offseason.
Omar, why you got your mask on? Well, you ain't gonna have it this week. You gonna be good. Hey, that's one thing. You gonna be good, man. Like that. Hey, that's dope that you on that podcast. I like what y'all doing for sure.
He wasn't worried about us, so he didn't have it on in there.
Yeah, he ain't got it on part. He be fresh too. So what you think? I was like, look, Omar.
So Landon, it's been a pretty hectic offseason to put it mildly. A lot of changes on offense, but on defense, you guys were running it back. How surprised were you to see that, and what's your just thoughts about that?
To what?
Keeping everybody on defense, kind of running it back.
Oh man, it was a great thing, because I know all them guys. You got that team camaraderie, with your defense, and I'm glad we got all the guys back, and it's gonna be fun. Cause I know somebody's gonna have this question, but like the NFL changes every year, so to not have your defensive unit change that much, is a good thing.
There's always a grace period when it comes to new coaches, new offense coordinator, new defense coordinator, new scheme, new players. There's always that grace period. It takes about 4 weeks, right? Because the preseason's the preseason and training camp's training. You can't really get a judge on training camp because they're not full tackling and you're going up against the same. You're going to hear me say this when training camp comes. When you get into the regular season, there's this grace period where they're still learning and they're still trying to get assessed to the new scheme. It takes about 4 weeks. So you'll notice the first 4 weeks, you'll have teams that are hot, go 3-0, 3-1, 4-0. And then all of a sudden, you'll get to the back end of the season where there's about 5 games left. Those 3-0, 4-0 teams, those hot teams are not even in the playoff race because of that grace period where the good teams, it takes 4 weeks. This defense should not take 4 weeks, being that it's the same exact defense, same defensive coordinator, same exact players, same exact scheme. There should not be a grace period, which should help the Dolphins continue that dominance on their defense.
I mean, obviously, Flo is no longer here, but with the team. But Josh Boyer stays the defensive coordinator. I mean, how much, or what do you expect to change in that aspect with him kind of really taking the reins with the defense?
I think Josh gonna do a great job. Do what he's been doing since he took over. The last 2 years, and that's it.
How does that continuity help you as a communicator and just kind of getting the defense to the rest of the guys? Like, there's no real going back to step 1. You're already at step 4 or 5, whatever. How does it help you as a communicator?
It's good because now you can build on it. You can start like putting yourself and your defense in situations that you might have couldn't put in last year OTA. You had to start from the foundation, which every year you still have to start with your foundation because guys been off, so you just gotta revamp things. But it's a quicker process and stuff like that. And as a communicator, as a guy that guys know on the team, and I know them and know the best situation to put each other in, it'll really complement us in the long run that we was able to stay together.
The thing I want to point out, he talked about beforehand, because what he just said kind of reiterated what I say about the 4-week grace period. What he said before, they brought up Brian Flores, you notice that he instantly was like, I feel like the team and the players are just moving on from Brian Flores, and they just don't want to talk about it and talk about him, which I completely understand. But the thing I want to point out is, when Brian Flores left and then when Gerald Alexander was released, a lot of people came out with these quotes and these articles saying that the defensive players don't like Josh Boyer. The defensive players like Brian Flores, like Gerald Alexander, these two guys were calling the plays secondhand. There's all these rumors and stuff. Yet every single starter on this defense came back. Every single starter came back. But there is the rumor out there that no one liked Josh Boyer.
So I'm sure you had some options. Why did you decide you wanted to come back?
to be fully transparent, I just felt like, this is my defense.
You're gonna hear that
Lead
a lot.
on the team and a lead on the defense. And it was kind of no-brainer for me, to be honest with you, and stuff like that. I love being in Miami. My family love it out here. I have a good relationship with everyone in the building. So it was kind of like, it was a no-brainer. So, yeah.
What do you really do with football? How do you feel about that?
For me, this might sound funny, but I tell everyone around the building, because I'm successful off the field and what I'm doing. I'm doing my own thing, off the field and stuff. I'm going into year 7, and I tell them all the time, man, I look to just be a high school head football coach. That's it. Because I feel like the foundation from kids start then.
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot of kids that going to college and coming in the NFL and really still don't know, or really still don't know who they are. Even as a football player, you can be this great athlete and not know, great football player, and still not know who you are until you get to the NFL. And I feel like me, being a guy, that's financially stable and stuff like that, and whatnot, maybe down the road I'll be like, I want to coach in the NFL, or I might wake up next year and be like, I want to coach in the NFL. But right now, I just want to mentor kids and give them the right opportunity to be prepared for certain situations, because, when you're in college, man, you got competition coming every year. So you got to approach that a certain way. But if you don't build that foundation as when them kids in high school and start them off in that path, and not, it's a time and a place to pat them on the butt and say it's going to be okay. But when you thrown in them fire and you got them wolves coming every year, and the strongest survive.
Yeah, he makes a very valid point. So it doesn't really have to do with the Dolphins, but you got to teach them young. And there's certain scenarios, especially in the NFL, certain scenarios, especially in college, when it comes to competing and all that stuff, that you have to have the right mindset when it comes to football, when it comes to how to handle yourself and all that stuff. And you teach that in high school. Pee-wee is different, because Pee-wee, it's just kids kind of just playing football. But once you get into high school, that's where you teach them how to, present themselves and how to take certain scenarios. And makes a good point. Very good stuff there from Landon Roberts. If you want to check out the full video, it's on their YouTube channel, Miami Dolphins YouTube channel. We're going to jump over now to Austin Jackson. Hear what he has to say.
What's this offseason been like for you? Obviously, a lot of changes happening with the team and with your unit.
Right. It's been great so far. In terms of myself, just getting a great routine, being very structured and taking a pretty great approach to just my training. As far as the team with the new coaching staff, I've talked to Mike and Frank a bunch, and, I'm really excited for, what we have in place. Even more excited for the work we're about to do to even start, because first things first, it starts now. That's why we're meeting and, training together, getting all that, getting the details down really of, our concepts that we're going to do.
How different is this scheme compared to anything you've run maybe in college and in your first few years here?
What I like about this scheme is it's very detailed. It's very detailed. We have a very detailed emphasis, and at the end of the day, we're going to have to rely on the concepts that we know and study and train for, which is fun. It's actually a lot of fun to do that, because once you get in an actual game, there's a lot of different situations to be ready for. So I think we'll definitely have our, our great playbook and just concepts that we're installing right now to fall back on.
I know you haven't even had a practice yet, but the zone rushing philosophy seems to align with many of your strengths. How do you think it aligns with your strengths?
Personally, it aligns with a lot of my strengths, one of them being my athletic ability, of course. Personally, I feel like I can play in any system, but it definitely aligns to the strength of overall as a team. And most definitely I'm really excited. I don't know how to fully explain my excitement, but Just know we definitely will be utilizing speed all around. We have a team full of people that are fast, skill-wise and offensive line-wise. Very competitive and very aggressive. And those are three pretty much fundamentals as players that, we pretty much operate on.
It's funny because we talk about how this is it for Tua. This is, they put everything around him. They gave him the offensive line. They gave him the weapons. They gave him the coach. This is the year for him to prove it. For me, that also entails with Austin Jackson, with Noah Igbenogany, which for Noah, it's an uphill battle because he still has to beat out X and he still has to beat Byron. But for these offensive linemen, Solomon Kinley and especially Austin Jackson, Liam Eichenberg, this is his second year. They've given you some very good offensive line coaches. So if you can't produce and if you can't fix your mistakes that you were doing last year, then it's like, again, it's one of those scenarios that this is it. This is your year.
Austin, what's Teron bringing to this offensive line? Not just from a play standpoint, but from a mentality standpoint.
Oh, yeah. He's, definitely he's a 10-year guy coming in, all-pro experience and all that stuff. If we're being quite frank with, that's somewhere every offensive lineman in the NFL wants to be. So he's definitely, coming with the work ethic and his experience. And, we all look up to that stuff. We all want to be there. So you got to, tip your hat to the OGs and, do your job at the end of the day.
Should have done it last year.
If I can follow up on that, Daniel, I think we heard Emmanuel the other day say he kind of brings that dog mindset to the line. You feel like, have you felt that so far, or you got to wait till you put the pads on in order for that to really resonate? He's a dog to the dogs, definitely for sure. He's definitely a dog. He's helped. There's little things in my training that I've taken a different mindset to. But like we said earlier, it's a room full of dogs already. So now we got more bite.
Did you have any prior just knowledge or relationship with your new offensive line coach Matt Applebaum, and just what are your impressions of him as a teacher?
Prior impressions, I've actually watched quite a lot of college tape. I watched a lot of tape. I actually love playing offensive line. It's more of an art form. It's an art form to me, so I love to study it. And I've definitely seen what, Boston College linemen have been doing in the past couple of years. So, they've been super fundamentally sound, technique-wise and all that. These last couple of weeks we've been working together have been great. Looking forward to more in the future for sure.
So what do you view as your ideal position with this group on the line and ultimately
Because I ain't going to be left
going forward in your career? And are those two things the same or different?
Right. Well, as you know, I played guard last year as well as tackle. So, personally, I'm a tackle. I feel like I'm a tackle. Comfortable there. Also very comfortable playing guard. Really just want to be in whatever position I can be in to help my team at the end of the day. So
Mike McDaniel did say that obviously Teron will be the left tackle. They signed Connor Williams, who projects to be left guard, but that's still up in the air. The kind of outside thought is that you'll probably be competing for a spot at right tackle with Gesicki. What do you think about that? And, what changes do you think you would have to make from moving to the left side to potentially the right side at tackle?
I actually played right tackle. This isn't a first time, playing a new role for me. Played it in high school, played it in college, actually collegiately, like starting at it. So it's not completely new for me. But at the end of the day, I have to make sure I'm 100% right in my techniques and fundamentals, because what our offense does is if you get the technique down and use that same technique, it's supposed to be the same at every position. So really, it's allowing for, people to be interchangeable. So that's first things first. That's what, we're locking in on in April.
When it comes to your...
Give you a little spoiler. I think he's going to be the starting right tackle, and I'll go more in depth on why that is when I kind of predict my depth chart, but I think Austin Jackson's going to be the starting right tackle. Finally, we have Mike Gesicki. Again, if you want to watch the full clip, you can go to the Miami Dolphins YouTube channel, but here is Mike Gesicki. I think this is the one we were most interested in hearing.
Crazy. Durham's boy, Scotty Scheffler, took home the dub.
Are they friends?
It's like Durham's good boy from home, his friend. He's like in-laws with him. So Durham claims that he's in his circle. He's not. Scotty has no idea who Durham is, but Durham indirectly has connections. So
how could you be in-laws with somebody and they don't know you.
Well, no, Durham's not in-laws. So it's Durham's friend from home is in-laws with Scotty. And now I'm calling him, first name basis as well. Sorry, Scotty. So, yeah.
Cuban cousins down here.
Exactly.
So how do you feel about receiving the franchise tag?
I mean, I don't think anybody like across the league would be, mad about a situation that, you get to, come back. You're obviously getting an increase in, financial purposes and all that kind of stuff. It's obviously not the goal, the end-all, be-all goal. It's definitely more team-friendly than it is player-friendly.
Mm-hmm.
But just gives me more reason to continue to come back here, work hard, and continue to be motivated and get back to work and, help this team win football games and, hopefully eventually get what I deserve moving forward.
Pretty.
Essentially, it's another prove-it year. So he's gonna, like you said, he's gonna fight hard. And I talked about this on Twitter. He talked about it's more team friendly, and he was all right with taking the franchise tag. And in all honesty, again, this is not a knock on Flores. I'm not saying anything bad about Flores, but you saw his disdain for Brian Flores, not only in his mic'd up, but on the sideline. He hated being taken out, and he was constantly taken out in that offense. So I think the fact that when Flores got fired, I think that helped the Dolphins be able to retain him.
Eventful offseason for you.
Yeah.
Congratulations again. Was there any were you able to kind of compartmentalize? Obviously, you have the wedding, you have the honeymoon, and then you're kind of talking with your agent. Were you able to compartmentalize?
It was crazy. It was awesome. I had a lot of fun this offseason. A lot of the focus was, not football related. A lot of the focus was, on the wedding and, the honeymoon and all that kind of stuff. And I made sure that Hallie knew that it was all, focused on the wedding and the honeymoon. I wasn't even worried about a contract. So, it was awesome. It was great. It was everything that I could have imagined. And then, I was in Bora Bora on my honeymoon, and yeah, exactly. And it was like a 6-hour difference in time. So it was 3 a.m. My agent texted me. He's like, "Hey, they're tagging you." And I was like, "Oh." I rolled over in the middle of the night, checked my phone. I got a text from my agent, and I was like, "Okay." And then I also had 100 other texts as I slept through it. It was like 4 a.m., 3 a.m. Bora Bora time, and rolled over, checked my phone, and knew what happened. Woke up Hallie. She was all excited, and then went back to sleep.
So are you planning? Are you and the organization sort of hey, let's have a 1-year look-see, or are you still open to the possibility of a long-term?
I am absolutely open to negotiation, but not really up to me, as a lot of this is not. So I just kind of go with the flow, and if they reach out, then my agent will be listening. So.
Does it bother you that they didn't feel necessary to get a multi-year deal done?
That's up to them, honestly. I have a good relationship with, Chris and, Brandon and, this new coaching staff. Obviously, maybe that has something to do with it. I'm not sure. I don't really have all the answers. But I do know, the kind of person that I am and, the worker that I am and the player that I am. I'm just going to go back out there and, continue to do what I do, continue to improve and, make plays and help this team win football games and, eventually get compensated for it.
Mike, are you planning on playing on the tag as a tight end, or you thinking about seeing what you can find as a wide receiver?
Well, I'm definitely playing. I'm here in OTAs, so This is obviously optional. So here I am. I want to do whatever I can to help this team win football games. I think, I've been here for 4 years now. The last 2 years we've been the odd team out, the last team out at the end of the at the end of the regular season in terms of playoffs. So, whatever it takes to go out there, win some games, win a playoff game, and get back out there and kind of get this city going in the right direction. It's been a long time, so but obviously it's a long process and a lot of work goes into it, and we're far away from that right now, but there's obviously the excitement, but all 32 teams are excited. It's April, so.
I think you were referring to where you want to appeal for the receiver designation with franchise tag, or keep it with the tight end.
That's kind of up to, obviously it's up to me, but more my agent and him kind of putting that out there. But as of now, I'm in here and I'm not really a big controversy guy. So I'm not trying to be the guy that's the bad locker room guy or the guy that's bringing the organization down or the guy that's in the headlines for the wrong reasons. Just trying to like I said, help this team in any way I can. Going on my 5th year. I joke around with Durham now. I am the most tenured Dolphins player on offense. I beat out Durham by about 17 hours. So that's me now. So I gotta be the leader. So I mean, I'll just be a team guy and continue to do what I do and come in here with a smile on my face and work hard.
Yeah, a lot of people assume that as soon as he signed that franchise tag that he is okay with being a franchise tag, the tight end, and all that talk about him, doing something to become a, whatever. No, he could still file a junction to or a grievance to say I'm a wide receiver and all that stuff. But like he just said, he's not that type of guy who wants to be in the limelight. Just like Jimmy Graham, he fought to be a wide receiver. He didn't win it. And there was all this stuff around. He's not the guy who's look at me. So he's just a team player. So it doesn't seem like he's going to do it.
Mike, what were your thoughts on the acquisition of Tyree Hill, and might it impact in any way what your role in what
love having more playmakers on the field.
So
to bring in a guy that's, one of, if not the best at what he does in this league. It's only going to help everybody in this offense. It's going to help our run game. It's going to help our pass game. It's going to help Tua. It's going to help me. It's going to help Jalen. It's going to help everybody. So super excited about that acquisition and excited to continue to get to work with them. So it's been good.
So Mike, when you look at the 49ers film and you talk to Coach Mike McDaniel and you talk to Coach Embry, right?
Yeah.
What do you see and what are you hearing about how your skill set could fit into that scheme?
There's definitely it's definitely a different scheme as to what we've played in. But at the end of the day, football's football. These coaches are elite in what they do, and I think that they're gonna put people in position to be successful. To be honest, we haven't even really gone over like installs or anything like that. It's just been very, very basic knowledge of the offense. So that's pretty much where we're at right now. But I'm ready to do whatever I can to go out there and make plays.
Did George Kittle run a lot of the types of routes that you have run?
I would say George and I are different players, but in terms of route running and ability to make tough catches and make plays. I think that the thing that he's the best at in the league, I think out of probably anybody in any position, is yards after the catch. He gets the ball and he runs angry. He runs people over. He stiff arms people. He runs by people. So I think having Coach Embry here, and he's kind of a guy that helped. I'm not saying that he's the reason that George is where he's at, or that George is the reason that John's the coach he is, but they worked together and did a very good job together. So he was able to help him in a lot of aspects, and obviously George is the player he is now. So I'm happy to have Coach Embry here, and it's definitely some good tape to watch. Watching Kittle out there.
What are your early impressions of Mike McDaniel, the man, the personality, coach?
Yeah, funny dude. I had a meeting with him, last week, and it went well. And just talking with him, just about everything. The atmosphere in the building, the guys, the locker room, everything. So he's awesome. It's been great.
What the guys had to say again, I picked out some of the things I thought was important from the three: Orlando Roberts, Austin Jackson, and Mike Gesicki. But if you want to watch the full videos, again, they are on it's one long video on the Miami Dolphins YouTube channel. But a lot of what I'm getting from, especially from the offensive guys, is that this new scheme is going to be very interesting. That is what I'm most interested in seeing. Like the defense, like what Orlando Roberts talking about, he kind of reiterated what I was saying with, there shouldn't be a grace period. These guys have been together for a year now. This defense has been doing its thing for 2 years now. Should be good. Should just smoothly transition into the season. Whereas the offense, that's where it's going to get interesting, especially with Austin Jackson. Like I said, I'm penciling him in at right tackle. Gesicki, he's got one of the best tight end coaches in the NFL, and Embry, who worked with, Tony Gonzalez, worked with Kittle, all those greats. So I'm very interested to see how they learn, how they form, and where this offense can go. Because talking about bringing in Tyree, Cedric Wilson, and then you have Waddle, it's going to take a lot of pressure off of Mike Gesicki to get open. So it's going to be very, very interesting. But be sure to comment below. I'll give you a 2 for today. I'm going to break down the centers. Give you a little hint. Luke Fortner. That's a guy I'm keeping my eye on. But breaking down the centers next, and that'll probably be out, if not tomorrow, definitely Friday. But we're getting closer to the draft. I will be doing a live stream for the draft, even though the Dolphins aren't picking until the 29th, until the Friday. But I will be doing a live stream for round 1. It's going to be interesting. We'll predict and just try to have some type of fun. But that, guys, like usual, stay classy. Have fun up.